Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy. Kindly subscribe, share and like my videos. This is a requested tutorial, so in today's class I'll be showing you how to make this stylish ruffle skirt. So let's get started. These are the essential measurements I need to achieve this skirt, and I'll be making use of this fabric for the front piece of the skirt. The first step is to fold the fabric into two. To know the wideness of the fold, you divide your hip circumference by 4, then you add about 2 inches sewing allowance to the side. But in this case, I don't really need to calculate the wideness I need to achieve the skirt, because I want this center circular pattern to be in the center of the front piece. The first step is to roll the starting line, which will be the waistline of the skirt. Since a waistband will be attached to the waistline of the skirt, I will subtract 2 inches by placing the tape on the waistline. The next line is the waist to hip line, which is 9 inches. The full length of the skirt is 18 inches. Plus 2 inches hem allowance. The next step is to mark the horizontal measurements. The waist circumference is 26 inches divided by 4, which is 6.5 inches, plus half inch sewing allowance for the dart, that will be 7 inches. Now I will add 2 inches extra to the side for the sewing allowance. The hip circumference divided by 4 is 9.25, plus 2 inches sewing allowance to the side. Now I will connect the hip circumference to the waist circumference. To get the knee circumference, you subtract 6 inches from the hip circumference, then you divide by 4. So whatever you get, you place it there, then you add 2 inches sewing allowance to the side. If you notice what I did, I only placed this knee measurement on the exact full length line, but I didn't add it to the sewing allowance down, and this is because I won't be using a lining in this skirt. So the best way to handle the hem is to take the full measurements of the knee circumference with the sewing allowance included. Here I have 10.5 plus 1 inch to that, and that will be 11.5 inches. Now I'll connect the points together as shown in form of a triangle. And with this little triangle at the bottom, after securing the hem, the sides of the hem will be equal. The next step is to cut the back piece of the skirt. I'm using a different fabric print for the back piece. So the first step is to fold the fabric into two. The next step is to place the front piece on the back piece, making sure you have about 2 inches extra at the side in which you'll be making the zipper allowance. For the zipper allowance on the waistline, I'll mark 1.5 inches, and on the hip line I'll mark 2 inches. On the knee line, I'll also mark 1.5 inches. The next step is to notch the darts for the front piece and the back piece of the skirt. The bust span is 6 inches divided by 2. I have 3 inches plus half inch sewing allowance, that will be 3.5 inches. Now for the front piece of the skirt, I'll be taking a little fabric away from the waistline And the reason for this is because I want the band to level properly and to relax well on our waist. So here I'm going to subtract 1 inch from the center of the fold, which I'll connect to the edge of the waistline as shown. The next step is to take both the front piece and the back piece to the sewing machine to secure the darts. The next step is to secure the hem of the front piece by folding it in as shown and pinning down the fold. And I also folded the hem of the back piece. Now I will take the front piece and the back piece to the sewing machine to secure the hem. The next step is to place the front piece on the back piece to mark the zipper allowance. The next step is to open the front piece to mark the waist circumference divided by 2. The hip circumference divided by 2. And the knee circumference. Now I'll place the right side of the front piece on the right side of the back piece to pin the edges. Now I'll take this to sewing machine to secure the sides together. In the next step, I'll be showing you where the ruffles will be placed. So on the right side of the skirt, between the line that joins the front piece and the back piece together, I'll mark 1 inch below that waistline. Now on the hip line, I'll mark 1 inch at the side. And on the left side of the skirt, between the 2 lines at the hem, I'll mark 1.5 inches above the hemline as shown. The next step is to connect the 3 points together with the way these points are marked. when you connect them together, it forms a curve naturally. The next step is to mark this exact curve on the back piece. At the left side of the back piece, I'll mark 1 inch away from the hip line as shown. And at this point, I'll mark 3 inches above the hem. Here you can mark 3, 4 or 5 inches depending on how long you want the slit to be at the center back. But here I'm using 3 inches because it's a short skirt, so it doesn't expose my breadth. Now I'll connect these 3 points together. So since I used 3 inches for the slit opening at this side, I'll also mark 3 inches on the other side of the hem as shown. Now I'll connect these 2 points together. Alright guys, so you can see that it's very simple to achieve this curve. So we also need to be sure if we are on the right track. So let's fold this together to see if we actually got the right curve at the back piece of the skirt. Obviously, the curve aligned properly. The next step is to fold the skirt equally. Since I'm using a 3 inches slit for the center back of the skirt, so above that 3 inches slit, I'm going to sew the zipper allowance to about 2 inches above the slit. After securing this little seam in order to achieve a slit at the back, the next step is to turn the skirt to the right side of the fabric. Step is to place the tape on the center back of the skirt to measure the curved line I chalked till I get to the other center line of the skirt. So the complete measurement of this curve is 57 inches. To get the wideness of the pleats I'll be using for this, I'll multiply 57 inches by 2 and that's 114 inches. So the length of the fabric I'll be working with is 10 inches, but here I have 11.5 inches. By the time I attach it to the skirt, it becomes 10 inches, while the wideness of the fabric is 114 inches wide. The next step is to sew the hem of the fabric by folding it in by half an inch and further folding it in by half an inch till you get to the end of the other side. After securing the hem of this fabric, the next step is to bring both ends of the fabric together to secure it by half an inch. Alright guys, so you can see I've attached both ends together. The next step is to place the skirt in between the fabric I'm using for the pleats. Now I'm going to pin this particular side I joined together on the center line of the back piece. After pinning this together, I'll take this to the sewing machine to pleat the fabric directly on the curved line I chalked. So this is the reason why I didn't sew the zip allowance completely, because if I did, it would be very difficult for me to attach the pleats to the skirt. So this is the outcome of the pleats on the skirt. The next step is to cut out the waistband. To achieve the waistband, you fold the skirt into two as shown. Looking at the skirt, you can see that this side of the skirt is slant but not straight. So in this case, I'll fold a pieces of the fabric in a slant manner so I can get the proper waistband for the skirt. The next step is to place the waist of the skirt on the fabric to trace out the waistline curve. The wideness of the band is 2.5 inches, so by the time I sew it becomes 2 inches. Now I'll mark 2.5 inches above the first waistline I traced out. The next step is to cut a facing for the waistband as shown. The next step is to use a paper stay to gum one side of the waistband. The next step is to place the right side of the waistband opposite each other as shown. Now I'll take this to the sewing machine to secure the waist line by half an inch. After securing this side, I'll open this up to top stitch this side of the fabric without the paper stay. The next step is to fold the band equally. I should use a pressing iron to fold the edges of the gum part in by half an inch. Now I'll take the skirt to notch the center of the waistline as shown. Now I'll place the center of the waistband on the center of the waistline on the skirt to pin all through. I'll take this to the sewing machine to secure where I pinned by half an inch. After securing this by half an inch, I'll fold the waistband equally to pin the edges of the waistband as shown. I'll take the skirt to the sewing machine to secure the edges of the waistband I pinned. So this is the outcome of the waistband. The next step is to turn the skirt to the wrong side of the fabric. Now I need to secure the zipper allowance properly. So I'll start by marking out 7 inches in which the zipper will be attached. Then from 7 inches downwards to the hem, I will secure it with a straight stitch. After securing the zipper allowance, the final step is to attach the zipper to the skirt. So this is the final outcome of the skirt. You should give it a try, and if you are new to my channel, my name is Nancy. Kindly subscribe, share and like my videos. Thank you. And please also put on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos so you don't miss any of my tutorials.